You ever make a lemon meringue pie, and the next day it's sitting in a little puddle of its own pee? That's because you're beating the egg whites too long, dingus. Just add a little cream of tartar and do soft peaks. And next time you put the meringue on the pie and you leave it in the fridge for a day, you won't come back to a lemon meringue pie that needs its diaper changed. For your health. I'm Spike.
I'm Kel. I don't know what any of that stuff means.
I'm Amanda. I have never made a meringue pie.
My canvas isn't showing up, Amanda.
I
Help.
know. We just
Help.
started.
Help me.
Spike.
Also, I'd like to share with the group for the 10 people who showed up. Hello, thank you so much for coming. Hi, Peachy. Hi, NH Illustrates. Thank you for coming. I just like to share, I am having an incredibly happy day. We should probably change the title. It is not episode 57, and it is not about Indigenous.
You're on a delay, Spike.
But yeah, I had an incredibly happy day today because you're talking to an old lady who grew up on Tropicana white grapefruit juice, which is incredibly bitter. And as the years have marched on, white grapefruit juice is getting harder and harder to find because almost everybody wants pink grapefruit juice, which is sweeter, and therefore I don't like it. But I finally found a reliable source of easy to get my hands on white grapefruit juice. And it's just as bitter as I remember, and I love it. Hello, Nudist. Hello, Lele. Hello, Alan Lord. Hello, Daryl. Hello to everyone. Hello, Ivatini.
Your energy is so
happy
high right
holidays. Now. Happy holidays to those who celebrate. I hope your family is tolerable. And if your family ain't tolerable, I hope you didn't go.
Yeah, I don't got anything to say.
Very
okay,
tired. I'm gonna apologize right now. My energy is in the toilet, not for bad reasons. Mostly, I ate food at a friend's house with their parents for Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. And you're full up now.
And
you're
I'm
all
kind
full.
of full. Also, I didn't sleep. I finished a job, so I've kind of spent the last 2 days working on comics, like my comics, nonstop because I know this will not last forever, and I have to do other work soon. So I kind of didn't sleep last night because I was just drawing my comics.
Yeah. I'm going back to drawing pages of Blacada here because I've mentioned this before, but I gave the link to somebody whose opinion I very much respect recently. And they told me they liked it and they said they'd like more. And so I instantly peer pressured.
Was this the same person in front of whom you insulted your comic and I had to defend your comic? Is this the same person? Huh?
Possibly the person we had lunch with, yes.
So my opinion wasn't important. I who kept defending your comic while you
care about listen, Spike. We all care about your Keebler elves.
Beautiful tree-dwelling elves.
When have I lied to save your feelings?
Okay, good point. All right, you have a point.
You know that I have always been honest when I've always been honest.
Yeah. And one of the things that you talk about sometimes, which I'm all like, that's some fucking wisdom right there. It's when you're all like, sometimes I think about people and I think, wow, you don't have any real friends. You don't have friends that'll like fucking save you from doing the wrong thing on the internet. I'm like, yeah, those are real friends.
No,
friends who are like, don't tweet that. Don't tweet that.
I was explaining to another friend the other night that there are two types of friends. Now, you can have more than these two types of friends. But when drama and or a crisis is happening, there are the two types of friends who really count. There's the first type of friend is the friend who loves you, who will tackle you in a football tackle and be like, hey, that thing you're doing online, stop it. This is really bad. You're going to regret it. I love you, and I don't want you to keep digging yourself a hole. And then you have the friend that doesn't love you and goes, oh, I want to see where this goes.
Let me pop some popcorn. I'll be right back.
Yeah. I want to see I want to see where this goes. No. Keep talking shit about them. It's no, you're valid. Keep going.
Yeah. And every once in a while that kind of comes. All right. When you run a publishing company,
I'm ready to tackle you. Here it comes.
You get some weird emails. And this is not something that happens.
Circus babes.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's one of them. But like, like you get these weird emails where you can almost imagine the Discord where this email like was inspired because it's clear someone had to be hyped up to send this email. And a good example of that is like I think we've gotten this twice in Iron Circus history, and so twice over like fucking 16 years is not often. But we got emails that were basically, "You are copying me. I'm going to sue you."
Oh yeah,
And it was and it's just kind of like, oh honey, it's like this. It's like you're not even like rattled by them because it's such an absurd claim. Like the one that really sticks with me is the back cover of FTL, y'all, which showed sort of a motley crew of the kind of people who decide to move to space after the faster than light engine becomes $200 in easily securable parts. Like that's the whole concept of FTL, y'all. That someone figures out how to build a faster than light engine for $200 in easily available parts. And space travel is instantly and chaotically democratized. So that's the premise. The back of it, the back of the anthology is a group shot of like maybe a dozen people running from right to left in their makeshift made in the garage spacesuits, a lady with her baby in a spacesuit, a dog in his spacesuit, a little kid in his spacesuit, that kind of thing, just sort of like let you know how crazy shit is out there. And I got an email that was it basically boiled down to, and Kel and Amanda can fucking back me on this, it basically boiled down to, you copied me because I also drew a bunch of characters running from right to left. So change it or I'm going to sue you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like this is almost like iconography that's like tropey almost. It's like this is what you do.
It's super vague. It's super common. It's something you've definitely seen if you read comics. A group of people basically charging in one direction from one side of the page. And
yeah, I'm just thinking about like ridiculous stuff like that. I also think of other times where it's like, oh, you clearly don't have any friends to warn you about this. I'm thinking of some racially insensitive costume decisions I saw at one Emerald City. Because the thing is I saw the same mistake made twice. And one was by an old man who was by himself.
Yeah.
He was dressed as Geordie LaForge.
Oh boy, okay.
So immediately what the insensitive racial decision that he made.
A lot of shoe polish, yeah.
But he was alone. He was very old, and this is clearly his favorite character. So that is you had no friends that told you this was a bad idea.
Right.
Whereas the other instance of seeing the same racially insensitive costume decision was a group of people who said, yes, we're all going to do this together. They were all dressed as zombies from Resident Evil 5, I think. Whichever Resident Evil takes place in Africa. And it was, one of them was not a zombie, but had the rest of the crew as zombies chained with collars around their neck.
Okay.
And also wearing blackface. So it's like all of you, like I was like, this group is worse than the first guy because the first guy clearly had no friends and no one could guide him straight. The second group, you all decided to do this. Like
there were multiple points in the decision-making process and the planning
where none of them stopped the others.
It's reminiscent
but
of
also
when you
means
watch
like with something like that, people outside of that group knew about it too.
It's reminiscent of when you watch a TV show or a movie and something happens. And if you're a marginalized person, you know instantly that there were no marginalized people in the room when that decision was made. No marginalized people who
Or
could
they
speak
just
up.
didn't feel comfortable enough to speak up because
Yeah,
sometimes they're
Yeah.
there but aren't listened to.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
The
just
thing that I find fascinating now in that situation, Spike, is when they're trying to be progressive and diverse, and they're doing blind racial casting. But then after casting people, they don't tweak the script. Like they don't go then looking for, we were gonna have this character do this thing. Maybe we shouldn't now.
Yeah.
An example is the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina show. Did blind racial casting. Anyone of any race could audition to be any character, regardless of what that character's race was in the comics. So the main bully was a black girl.
Right.
And the actress was fabulous. She did a great job being a mean girl. And Sabrina does a thing that makes it look like I forget what the exact specification of the spell is, but it basically traps all her bullies and then makes them think they're gonna get hung.
Oh.
And it's like, this was okay when you didn't have the main bully be black.
Yeah, maybe rethink that one.
Yes.
Now what am I looking?
Like you maybe should have rewritten Sabrina's magic revenge on her bullies.
Yeah. There are a lot of pitfalls, and sometimes you don't know them all.
And so it's like, that is a case where they're clearly trying to be more inclusive by doing the blind racial casting. They just didn't think it all the way through.
Or I guess they just didn't read. They just didn't read the script. They just didn't reread. They just didn't read the script a second time.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's why I was saying they didn't think it all the way through. They didn't.
Amanda, what are you drawing?
Guess.
No, just tell me.
I'm still working on my Porama pages.
Oh, okay. The webcomic.
Yeah, the future someday webcomic. Maybe not a webcomic so far. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm thinking about releasing as single issues and just I sell them digitally myself. I'm also thinking about doing the webcomic thing, but then again, I'm also thinking about maybe doing multiple page updates. Like maybe twice a month I do like 10-page updates. That would make me happy narratively. Because I'm not sure I want to do the 1-page, 2-page a week drip feed anymore. Or I say anymore like I used to. Because narratively, it's not satisfying for me.
Yeah.
Sam Doug is asking in the chat, was this a childish show or like an edgy adult version? Sam, it's The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is like a horror version of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So it's like not what you think of as edgy adult version. It's more like, hey, witchcraft is a horror thing. So what if we made Sabrina into a horror show rather than wacky sitcom hijinks with magic? And for the most part, it was successful. It was just every so often there was stuff like the thing that I mentioned where it was like, you didn't reread the script or think this through.
I'm trying to draw Purima. Like she's so happy, she's sort of vibrating, and that's what I'm trying to draw. And I'm not sure I'm pulling it off, but I'm trying.
I'm definitely getting that.
Yeah,
I might have to bold.
That's what I'm getting to.
Spots. Okay, cool. I might have to bold a few areas.
I'm drawing vampires.
Of course, naturally.
I'm drawing Keebler elves.
I mean, usually I draw werewolves. I'm taking a break from werewolves.
Yeah, but vampires are in your oeuvre.
Yeah.
I know about a guy who thinks he's a werewolf and a vampire.
Tell me something new.
I hate those people.
He is also married to a My Little Pony. but on the astral
This
plane.
guy's
a
life
literal My
sounds
Little
great.
Pony. At first, I'm sitting here going, well, that's not weird. Like, if people are fans of lots of things, and it's like, oh, you mean an actual My Little Pony?
No, and yeah, like a character. I believe it's a fan character though.
I mean, yeah, okay.
He's really active on TikTok.
Now, does he
You know
believe
what
he's
I
a
saw
vampire
on
and a
TikTok?
werewolf, or does he POV roleplay as a vampire?
No,
or
he
werewolf?
says he actually is, and he will live to be 1 billion years old.
How old is he?
Okay.
20 something.
Oh, okay. He'll get over this. This is a phase.
I don't think he will.
Eh.
If you watched him, you'd understand why I felt that way.
What I saw on TikTok today that was wonderful is someone did Shakespeare's Mark Antony, a speech from Shakespeare's Mark Antony play, but rewritten with modern youth slang. And it's very funny. It's like, we all
oh wow, you went robot-y. Kel?
You still there? Uh-oh. Kel? Something told me someone's connection got
let me go look at Discord. I have a million windows open. Let me go.
That's okay. I also have a bajillion windows open.
I'm also going to see if they're saying anything in the chat. No.
Yeah. They went super robot and then dropped all the way out.
Yeah. Rest in spaghetti, never forgetty.
I need to restart my router.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
We'll hold down the fort.
Yeah. We'll be here. We ain't going nowhere. We got too much work to do.
We all stand Caesar once, and Brutus is based rewrote the whole speech to be modern internet slang, and I was like, this is very funny.
Makes me think of a thing that like the Green Brothers did ages and ages ago, where they did like Pride and Prejudice, but in vlog form. Remember that?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm old.
You know what? Well, it's not about being old. It's just about being on different sides of the internet.
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to what the Green Brothers are doing.
Like Kel and I are like the same age, and Kel traveled different parts of the internet than me, and vice versa. So sometimes we have wires that just did not cross.
Yeah, I get that sometimes because God, it's like this is absolutely the age that we live in where there's somebody, and I will hear about them for the first time yesterday. And it turns out they have like literally 40 million followers on TikTok or something.
Oh yeah. I can't count how many times you've come to me with like, have you heard this new song? I'm like, the song that went viral?
Also, it's very funny when you brought up slime tutorials.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know what those are. And then you were talking about literal slime. Yeah. And I was like, oh, never mind.
Yes, I am talking about very literal slime. Apparently, this is big business making slimes for people.
For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like on Instagram, so many slime accounts, and it's just okay. Is this slime sizzly like it was promised? I'm like sizzly, and then they'll play with it. I'm like, oh, sizzly.
Again, we talked about it, I think the last time we brought this up, but I still think about the craft store glue takeover when slime was big. You could roll for that for like about a year to 2 year period, specifically. Like I think it actually reached its peak during COVID, actually, or the lockdown.
That would make sense.
You could roll into almost any craft store and you could find like 3-gallon jugs of glue, of Elmer's glue for sale, which is, the kind of glue they use for their slime. And but then after that people still do it, obviously, but like it's not at the same rate as they used to. And now the glue gallons are not available. I'm like, damn, there's a period in our life where we could have loaded up on gallons of glue.
Oh God, that's hoarder thoughts. Like, oh, well, I will definitely find a use for.
I know, but it's like, but I was also like, when am I gonna see this much glue ever again? I didn't buy any glue. Don't worry, I did not buy like 10 gallons of glue. Don't worry.
You say, trying to
I was broke at the time, and I'm still
kick
broke.
10 gallons of glue
Look,
under the bed
glue,
without anyone noticing.
no matter what kind of discount or bulk deals they got going, glue still costs money.
Yep, ain't that the fucking truth? Oh god, yeah, I spent a big proportion of this year broke myself, so trust me, I get it.
I've been broke for 10 years, Spike.
Fair enough. Just, but yeah.
I'm always broke except for right now.
But yeah, it's just, oh boy, this year was honestly, it felt like not to use like fucking gamer terminology for everything, because that's stupid.
It's okay. We know we know you don't. You've never touched grass. It's fine.
I don't touch grass, so it's just convenient. But yeah, it's all very level up. This whole
I don't
year
like the way
feels.
that looks. I don't like the way that looks. I'm gonna have to change your tail.
No,
It's like a fart.
but yeah,
stream.
this year was a big level up year, and it was a level up in a way that I and Iron Circus haven't experienced since, like, I'd say like the first Smut Peddler anthology, and in a lot of ways it mirrored the first Smut Peddler anthology, because it's like when I hit go on the Kickstarter for the first Smut Peddler, I think I had like, it's either $100 or $800 to my name. I had basically nothing left, because that was, again, before I had any fucking juice, before anybody had any reason to believe me that they would get paid after the crowdfund. And so I had to pay everybody up front and then pay them their bonuses again after the crowdfund. Because, why would you believe me? No one had done anything like this before, and small press anthologies were notorious for making zero money. So I just fucking had to pay everyone up front. And
Yeah.
then I got a chance. I got a fucking chance, and it just blew up, and Iron Circus leveled up, and we just, it just sort of put a little rocket fuel in, and then Lackadaisy happened, and Lackadaisy has been out of control in multiple ways, most of which I literally cannot talk about. And it's been one of those deals where I feel as if, what's a good way to put this? I feel as if there are now doors open to Iron Circus that have never been open to Iron Circus before. And I could have potentially spent the rest of my life and my career never even realizing we're there. And it's been fucking wild. It's been very wild. And I hope to have more to say in 2024. That's what year? Yeah, 2023? Yeah, 2024. Don't even know what year it is. That's how it's going for me. And thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Kel, for sticking by me this long year, this long, strange
I'm only
trip.
doing it so that the steam's still going when Starry Night drops, then I'm out.
Exactly. That's
Then
all
I'm
you
out.
want from life. Starry life in the local Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, then I'm out.
To quote Princess Carolyn, I can't take care of myself, so I neurotically help other people.
Yeah.
And you mean the pink hat Princess
Stare-
Carolyn, not the real Princess Carolyn.
Stares in the mirror like, yeah.
Well, it's great. You do amazing jobs. I really appreciate all y'all do for Iron Circus.
I don't do jobs anymore.
Y'all are fucking Amanda. Stop.
I'm just saying.
You do amazing work. Amanda is stepping away from Iron Circus stuff.
On purpose.
No, you are.
Yes,
oh
I
my
am.
God.
It's on purpose. I'm literally giving my jobs to someone else.
Yes, you made it sound like I fucking replacing you.
I know, because I'm trying to stress you out.
Oh, God,
I know, I'm trying to stress you out.
You are. It's working.
I'm painting everything in the worst way possible.
Possible light. Yes, it's working. It's fucking wild. It's a fucking wild year. And here's some little advice for everyone out there.
Pray for me. I applied for a job I want. Pray for me. Pray right now.
Good luck. Good luck.
Prayer's bullshit. But
do it anyway, Spike.
I will absolutely say something now to everyone here who just so you have this in your mind, if you are like gonna go to San Diego Comic-Con next year or whatever, and hopefully rub elbows and hobnob and try and get some industry connections. I was talking to someone recently and I was telling them how much I liked their work, and they said they remembered me. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, we've met before. I guess you don't remember. We've met before at San Diego Comic-Con. And then I had like that moment where it's like memory recovered. It's like achievement unlocked. Like, holy fuck, I totally forgotten about that. And it's like, oh God, I hope I
How
didn't do
could you
anything
forget?
fucking
Wow.
stupid, but I guess not, because you are talking to me now. But that was 10 years ago and you remember, Jesus. So yeah, be nice to people. Be nice to people at San Diego Comic-Con.
Spike.
Yeah,
Spike.
because you never know in 10 years. Yeah.
Spike, that ship has sailed. You've been so mean to me.
I've been so terrible to you. But yeah, it's fucking wild because it's like I barely remember the incident when we met, and it was just fucking wild. Oh.
Can I ask who it was that you met and they remembered you? Or is that secret?
I will type it to you.
Oh, okay.
I just rather not people know I'm having these conversations.
I don't know if
okay,
this is
I'm going to put it in the general chat.
Well, since I got people viewing, how does this panel look? I don't know if that reads right.
Oop, all caps, whatever, I'm pressing send.
Oh,
she's supposed to be like vibrating with excitement. I'm not I don't know.
I think it reads.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I think it reads too, Amanda.
Okay, even the ver.
Yes, I think she looks cute. But yeah, hopefully next year, preferably before the spring.
There are probably typos and in the word bubbles and balloons because brain fart because they're placeholders. I'm going to rewrite them so they're kind of more placeholders. But let me look. Let's see.
Oh, did I mention that?
I see what you're talking about. It's not a big deal. This is all getting rewritten.
I am stealing something I saw on Blue Sky because somebody had a dream. A friend of mine had a dream.
Nudis, it's fine for pointing it out. I'm just letting you know if you see a typo on this page while I work, it's fine. It's getting rewritten. This is I slap down. Sometimes I slap down placeholder dialogue when I can't think of the perfect way to say something. So I'm like, I'll come back to this and figure it out later. And this is just one of those pages where I said, slap it down, figure it out later.
But I was reading somebody's skeets over on Blue Sky.
Stop calling them skeets.
By the way, I have literally 8
No,
invites.
they're skeets, Amanda.
Let me know
you
peace.
Can't stop it.
Let me know peace.
I have 8 invites if anybody knows anybody who needs one. But
I've got like 5.
I know, right?
I've been posting my invites on my Patreon to be like, nice. If anyone wants them, just take them.
Yeah, curate that shit. Go nuts. But yeah, basically someone had a dream that, and I'm probably getting this wrong, but this is what I remember. Someone had a dream that you could both call back and preoccupy the spirits of the dead by pouring drinks for them, and they would be forced to stay for as long as you were basically upright. And I was like, oh, that's good. And I was like, hey, can I have that? And they're like, yeah, just give me credit. So yeah, I'm going to work that into Blacata. That basically, that's how they keep ghosts and gods from kicking their ass. They get them drunk.
I was watching I was watching a YouTube video about the live action One Piece. And one of the details it goes over is the puppets that are used to be the talking snail phones in One Piece. So Spike, in One Piece, everyone talks via telepathic snails. Like they just keep these telepathic snails around and use them as telephones.
Yeah, they're like long range communication.
Yeah, that was actually in Failure to Launch.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna get to. I was like, but the thing is like Odo started it when he was so young that I was like, how did he know about that as a teenager? Like, because it is such a weird piece of history. Or did he just come up of that independently? despite that, like he also was like, it would be cool if snails were telepathic and we use them as phones.
Oh, I don't think there's any way he could have come up with that independently.
Why not?
I don't know. One Piece is really weird. So
All you
specific.
have to do is think, haha, wouldn't it be funny if I lifted up this snail to my head as a phone? Like, I don't think it's that far fetched. Snails are fun shaped.
That's
Yeah.
not what I would
Snails
call
are
them.
fun shaped. They're very fun shaped.
I would not call them that.
I do think the puppets for the live action show are very cool.
I'm surprised by how many people seem to be okay with the live action show. Usually when anime goes live action, people do
that
not
is
like
why everyone is talking about it, because it is the exception to the rule. The live action One
Oh.
Piece is actually really faithful to One Piece. It kind of is leaning into how silly it is. The cast is really good. I'm saying this as someone who read a large chunk of One Piece and decided it was not for me.
Mhm.
And then because everyone was talking about how good the live action show was, I was like, well, I will check out the live action show as well, just to see what people are talking about. And my complaints about the live action show are the same reason why I did not like the comic. So like, it's
Super
not that it's
ugly?
bad, it's more just
It's not for you.
I did not, yeah, it's not for me. I like the live action show better than the comic because the women have organs, but the rest of it is like the thing that bothered me about the story in the manga also bothered me about the story in the live action show.
I never gave One Piece a chance because I thought it was simply too ugly.
I like the art a lot, and I did used to read it, but I got to me and my partner at the time were buying the manga volumes, and like we reached a point where it's like, if we keep buying these, we're never gonna have bookshelves left for anything else. So
it's now all on Shonen Jump.
Yes, now it is.
Yeah.
But this was
yeah.
This was about this was 10 years ago.
I'm saying if you so chose, you could catch
I know.
up.
I'm slowly working my way there. I'm getting back in the habit of. But yeah, no, I did like One Piece. I just had to, for my own sanity, stop reading it.
The nudist says, how well do marsupials metabolize alcohol? Well, the only one who gets to drink, because the way they regard alcohol is they kind of regard it the same way a lot of indigenous people originally regarded tobacco, where it like wasn't a thing you like chilled out with every night. It's kind of like, it's magic, basically. It's a thing that came out on special occasions only. And the only person who drinks is Eki, who is the little nasty, skinny, mean guy. This guy right here. This is Eki. He's the only one who gets to drink. And he could drink pretty much anyone under the table.
He said nasty, skinny, mean guy, and I thought of like two of them.
No, Eki is the incredibly bony guy who has a torn earlobe and a bunch of scars and David Bowie eyes. And how he got David Bowie eyes is going to be very clear in chapter 2.
Spike, I don't know what David Bowie.
David Bowie has a weird eye. He has one weird eye.
David Bowie got in a fight in his youth and got hit in the face incredibly hard. And for the rest of his life, one of his pupils was completely blown out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if from far away, it looks like he has heterochromia, but he doesn't. It's just one of his pupils is reacting normally to light, and one of them is completely blown out. And Eki has that same thing.
Okay.
Anyway, if you like One Piece, you should watch the live action one.
I think I'll give it a go. I need to. I ran through my list of things to watch on my bike, and I need to make a new list of things to watch on my bike.
Like, the changes they made to the story are changes that are like, because comics are not TV shows and TV shows are not comics.
I also heard that Oda, the creator of One Piece, seems to really like the show. Like, he's like,
Well, he helped write it. Like,
yeah, no, but like there's a difference between helping writing and cheerleading. You know what I mean? There's plenty of creators
Yeah.
who help write an adaptation of their thing, and are like, cool, there it is, go watch it. And then you have like people like Oda right now who are like, look at our baby, look at our big beautiful baby.
Well, the thing is like there are creators who help write, quote unquote, but really they just like read the script and then said, okay, fine. But then there are people like George R. R. Martin did actively work on Game of Thrones, the show. And so that's more what Oda did. He like actively worked on it. So rather than just say, sure, fine, go ahead. The video I was watching did go over like interviews with the showrunner who did talk about like one big change they did make that was the thing that him and Oda got into an argument about is they introduce Luffy's granddad in the show early. And when I say in the show early, Spike, it's like the show is adapting the first couple of volumes, whereas this character doesn't show up till like volume 30.
No.
So this is really bringing him in way early. This would be like if A Song of Ice and Fire, if they took Aegon, the fake Aegon, and put him in season 1 while Daenerys was first marrying Khal Drogo. So like a character that is like not even hinted at in the beginning, getting brought up right at the beginning.
There's a whole new Song of Ice and Fire thing going on right now, isn't there?
What do you mean?
I mean, there's House of the Dragon got made for HBO.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And it's okay.
I'll admit I have not seen it, but the thing is,
I watched it, and my problems with it were probably things that they will fix now that they know they have more than one season. Cause so the first half of the season is because it's going over the whole Targaryen Civil War. So the first half, but that is a like 20-year period, like build up to the war, and then the war breaks out. And so like the first half of season 1 is Rhaenys Targaryen as like a teenager, and then and her mom has just died, and then there's like a time skip 12 years later for the second half of the season. And basically there's a big time jump in between every episode, and it kind of kills the tension between some of the conflicts going on. Because like Matt Smith plays Daemon Targaryen, and he is stuck in a loveless marriage, and he murders his wife, but she's in charge of the Vale. And then there's like a guy who's her cousin like confronts Daemon Targaryen about it, and is like, we know that you killed your wife, we can't prove it yet, but don't think you'll get away with this. And then the next episode is 5 years later, so I guess he got away with it. Like
maybe
like there's literally no consequences, there's no follow-through on that scene. Like that doesn't matter anymore. Has his second wife and has 2 great daughters who are gonna ride dragons and be cool. So like it
became the wheel of time and turned together again.
No, so it's like,
I liked those books. I'll fight you right now.
It's okay, there's nothing wrong with liking bad things.
How dare you take digs at me after I took digs at you? How dare you?
Yeah. So it's basically Spike, like, the problem is that, like, there's no follow through on any conflict from episode to episode, other than like general rumblings.
Okay.
And because next season they don't have to do all those time skips because the war is on now. So they don't need to do those time jumps. Also, they know they're getting more seasons because it was HBO's most popular show.
I just now had to look
again.
up the word squeak. I've rewritten it so many times trying to get this sound effect right that I forgot. Like, is this a word? You ever like do that? We just like write a word over and over, and you're like, I don't think this is a word.
Yep.
But no, I'm spelling squeak right.
But yeah, so
Snakehoof, I finally finished Chernobyl, only took me 4 years. Yeah, Chernobyl's a tough watch. Particularly all the parts where you're like, no, while watching the screen because people are doing things they really ought not be doing due to, instant death. And the part that I had to take a break twice while watching Chernobyl. The 2 breaks I had to take was when the reactor blew, like the first episode, the reactor blows, right? And there's a technician who's all like, okay, it's bad. This one's really bad, you guys. Like, it's really, really bad. Like, we all need to get out of here. It's super fucking bad. We need to tell Moscow it's super bad. And the people who were kind of in charge were like, I don't know, like, do we really need to send this up the chain of command? We need you to go on the roof and look down at the reactor and tell us how bad it really is. And before this, they had established that one of the first signs of like lethal radiation sickness was pretty much your face just goes beet red, right? That means you're pretty much fucking doomed in the context of this show. And this nuclear technician was like, no, I'm not going up there to fucking look at the reactor. Have you like not heard a word I've said this entire time? And they're like, no, you're going up there. You are going up there. That's a military order. You're going up there or we're going to imprison you and basically tell everyone it's all your fault. And he goes up there and there's like this door open on the roof of the intact part of the reactor. And like, the military officials are standing at the door and they make the guy walk across the roof all the way to the other side of the roof and gaze down into the hole where the reactor used to be. And they like clearly are waiting for him to react, like, okay, so what do you see? And he just slowly turns to them. And in like the 5 seconds where he was looking at the reactor, his entire face has turned completely beet red. And he just knows. And they aren't ready to know yet, but he knows he is now dead. And like the show ends on a shot of him sitting in a boardroom, completely expressionless. And like basically chaos is unfolding around him. And people are just like arguing with one another about how much Moscow needs to know about this. That was the first time I needed to take a break. The second time I needed to take a break was when they were evacuating Pripyat. And they were telling everybody, you'll be back in a couple of weeks. It's just a precautionary measure. No. Don't bring your treasured photographs. Don't bring all of your documentation. It's fine. You'll be back in 2 weeks. It's fine. And one of the things they did not allow people to bring was pets. And there was a shot of a family boarding a bus with their German Shepherd. And one of the soldiers goes, no. And he just like pulls the German Shepherd's leash out of a child's hand, like a little girl's hand, and puts them on the bus and basically goes, go and get to like the German Shepherd. And the bus pulls away and the German Shepherd starts running after it. And it's just so fucking heartbreaking.
Oh, so you didn't have to take a break after the episode where they shot all the dogs then?
I actually paused that and didn't want to look at it for a minute. But
see,
yeah,
even monsters have standards.
But the part where I was like screaming no at the screen, there's like this whole bit where there's this like pregnant woman who had a husband who worked at the reactor who was like, oh, he dead, kind of, irradiated. And he himself was radioactive, and she was pregnant. And she kept like getting closer to him, even though the nurses at the special radiation hospital were like, okay, you see this plastic sheet? Don't go beyond this plastic sheet. Next fucking scene. This woman is sitting on his bed holding his hand. I'm like, okay, you know what? Whatever. I don't care about you anymore.
I mean, that baby. The reason why they told that story is because that baby miraculously was fine. Like,
yeah, but like, just
like, yes, she did stupid things, but they included it because they're like, there's some good news. Baby miraculously fine.
Yeah. Oh, but you know what this makes me think of?
Wait, Spike. On the topic of baby malformities.
Oh, good.
Did you ever watch the show The Good Wife?
I did not.
I mean, not The Good Wife. Call the Midwife.
I've watched some of Call the Midwife, but I know there's a lot of Call the Midwife. I haven't watched it all.
Okay, so
keep in mind present company.
So one season, I was watching it with my mom, who there's the end of one season, and the doctor is telling this lady about this miraculous new drug for pregnant women.
Thalidomide, right?
Yeah. And he said the name, and my mom went, "Oh no!" Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then sure enough, next season premiere. Baby's got no eyes.
Yeah. Ooh, boy, that was a hell of a thing that we did as a species, thalidomide. That was a hell of a thing.
Hey, the American FDA got ahead of that.
Yeah, the American FDA was like, no.
Yeah, basically what happened was they submitted thalidomide for approval by the FDA, and the woman who was in charge of the FDA at the time was like, okay, cool, this looks good, except there's one thing that kind of concerns me. You did not do placental barrier tests to my satisfaction. You did them on rats, but they don't count because rats do not react to thalidomide the same way that humans do. Like, rats actually get really energized. So it's a safe bet that, any kind of tests on them kind of really, they don't count. So I'd like you to redo some placental barrier tests to see if thalidomide reaches the fetus on rabbits and see how that goes, because rabbits react to thalidomide the same way that humans do. And the drug company, which is run by Nazis, but whatever. The drug company.
Look, hey, everything is run by Nazis at that point.
Yeah, the drug company run by Nazis, staffed by Nazis. They basically said no, because that's not required by law. We're not going to do the test. You're just going to have to approve it on these terms. Look at all these other countries that approved it. You have to approve it too. And the Surgeon General was like, not going to do that. And then they're like, well, then we're fucking coming for your job. And then she's like, okay, cool, do that. I don't care. I'm not approving it.
Didn't they also try to bribe her at one point too?
They tried pretty much
everything. They did.
They tried pretty much everything. And the thing that actually gets skipped over a lot is they were so sure thalidomide was going to be approved in the US that they gave out big sample packs to lots of American doctors. So they'd be like off to the races the minute the approval came through. And some of those doctors were so sure it was going to be approved in the US, they didn't wait for the approval to start handing out the sample packages. So there was like 2 American thalidomide babies. But like the thing is, that's like nothing compared to Europe.
Sample package is still a thing?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Oh, are they?
I just remember my mom used to work for a doctor's office, and all of our medication was in sample packet form for a very long time.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are. Yeah. That's still a thing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's so much still a thing that there's a Scrubs episode about it.
Okay. I don't know what Scrubs is.
It's a TV show about...
Scrubs was a comedy TV show about doctors.
Yeah.
Oh, see, you could have told me it was a drama and I would have believed you.
Yeah, my dad is a doctor.
You go first, Spike.
My dad is a doctor, and he would bring home all the goodies, and he was an allergist. He would bring home all the goodies that all the drug companies would give him for allergy medicine. And my favorite is when he'd bring home candy. I mean, there were tons of coffee mugs, so many coffee mugs. Oh my God, the coffee mugs. We never bought a coffee mug ever, because there were always free coffee mugs from the drug people. But sometimes they would bring home candy. And I remember there was one that was like clearly a huge stretch, like the marketing team just kind of went with what the supplier had. And it was for an allergy drug that was as tough as a gorilla, but as gentle as a butterfly. So the gummies were gorilla gummies and butterfly gummies.
Oh, we didn't get candy. We just got samples of medication.
Yeah.
I think that's how I got put on that one. There were like multiple, when I was a teenager, there were multiple weight loss medications that got banned, and I was on at least one of them.
Was it Fen-Phen?
I don't know.
All
I know is it made me shake. And then it was recalled, and it was like, oh, you need to stop. Don't do that anymore. I was like, I'm not the one who did it to begin with. Anyway, Cal, keep going. Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
So, Amanda, the thing about Scrubs that is funny is, besides so it's a sitcom, but oddly enough, it was more medically accurate than like ER and dramas at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of the shows that I watched with my mom because she would be like, she just was like, we're always arguing about fucking pens at the nurse's station.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause, so it's like, it's also one of the few medical shows where they actually wore like protective headgear while doing surgery, and other stuff. So it's just interesting that like the sitcom paid attention to this accuracy shit. But like ER didn't.
I recently saw a TikTok by a doctor that was all like TV doctor time. It's like, hello, I'm a doctor. For some reason, I'm in the emergency room. Am I an ER specialist or trauma specialist? Who can say? All I know is I'm here now. Hello there. You came into the emergency room 10 minutes ago. I'll see you right now. My head hurts, doctor. This doesn't feel good. Come with me to the MRI machine. Apparently, I can also run an MRI machine because I'm a doctor. And so he was running the MRI machine, not an MRI like technician or anything. And then he goes, my God, it's a brain tumor. We'll have to get you to the OR. Stat, I'm a surgeon now. And it was just like the same doctor throughout. And of course, it was just very goofy. And it's really indicative of how bad TV doctor shows can be.
Yeah, whereas Scrubs, like, they made it perfectly clear there's, like, the general doctors, there's the surgeons, there's, like, there's very clear, like, lines of who does what.
Your doctor does not take your x-ray. Your doctor does not take your MRI. Yeah.
Yeah, because the main character, the main character is more like a general doctor, and then his best friend and roommate for the first few seasons is a surgeon. And it talks about how like the surgeon, apparently if you're a bro and go into medical school, you're probably going to become a surgeon. And just stuff like that is apparently like good on them for doing the research and the details. And part of that accuracy is because the showrunner's like college roommate is who the main character is based off of, and they hired that guy to be like their consultant on hospital shit.
You'd be surprised. It's like you'd think more shows would have consultants, but I guess that sometimes they just get overridden because it's not dramatically interesting to be realistic, which I get. I get.
Also, sometimes the consultant is a liar, like we talked about last week with the indigenous consultant. Was not indigenous and just made shit up.
Yeah, he ironized coded them. Oh, but hey, this makes me think of a thing. This was big news a while back. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but I definitely heard about it. I think it's such old news, though, that the person that did it like went to jail and got out and is back doing the same shit again. It was one of these people. I do not believe he is indigenous, but he definitely kind of camps it up in an indigenous way, or just kind of goes cafeteria style over to indigenous practices and kind of picks and chooses the bits he likes, and then just goes with it.
Like
He was one of these.
Lubies.
he was one of these new age crystal kind of dudes, and he would offer sweat lodges, and his sweat lodges were supposed to be spiritually cleansing, and they would help you open your third eye and all this other happy horse shit. And he had never, had an issue before this one sweat lodge, but he definitely had an issue. Eventually, he had a sweat lodge at some retreat that people paid like hundreds of dollars to go to. He had a sweat lodge, and
what's his face?
If you Google "killed during sweat lodge," you'll find him.
Tim Robbins or V or something like that.
All I know is he killed 2 people in a sweat lodge, through heat exhaustion or whatever.
If this is who I'm thinking of, he's not like a new age crystals guy. He's just a general prosperity gospel without the Christianity shit.
Oh God, I hate prosperity gospel so much. But yeah.
Yeah, because there's the new age guys, but then there have been some like motivational speaker type business guru dudes that are just like taking stuff like the sweat lodge.
Okay, it's not the guy I'm thinking of. This is James Arthur Ray, who is a self-help businessman, motivational speaker, author, convicted criminal.
Convicted criminal.
Yeah, he was less like crystals and like vibes and more like
if you're a real man, your willpower will get you through the sweat lodge.
Well, not just that, it's more like the spirit and crypto, it's that.
Barf.
Yeah.
Barf. Oh God. Speaking of crypto,
similar bullshit just fed through a different machine.
Yeah.
The world is full of people who kind of want to believe there is a cheat code they just haven't learned yet.
I mean, me. I would love
that. Well, no,
I like Nudist saying he forgot about his bonitis. Yes. But yeah, that makes me think of there was a bit in Arrested Development where the dad was running one of those sweat lodge things. But he has an identical twin brother, so he would have his identical twin brother sit in the actual sweat lodge with people. And then he'd come in and they're pretending to be the same person and be like, see, because of my willpower, I'm fine and I don't need this water. But if you need this water, I'll sell it to you for $1 million.
That's pretty good.
And he's like, but the reason why you need this water is because you're not using your mental focus or fortitude or whatever.
This is the one. This panel is the one panel where these two are a rat and a cat. They're always a rat and a cat, but this is the first panel where they are a rat and a cat.
Yeah.
You are moving too much. Smack.
The panel after this one, when I finish this panel, you're all getting an eyeful of how fucking slow I am. After this page is you're going to see. I think it's going to be a really fun page because you're going to see for kind of the first time what decent people from this culture look like. Because these are not decent people from this culture. These are fucking garbage criminal assholes. You're going to see what well-to-do people from this culture
I was going to say decent.
Yes. Well, they're decent in terms of they're not literal murderers.
Yeah, they're not criminals.
That's a low bar to clear.
Since we last streamed, I have been just going through all of Behind the Bastards.
I started listening to that. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. At first, I was like, I don't understand how they can have this many episodes about Scott Adams. And then I got through them all and I was like, oh no, they totally had way more than they had way more than enough material for this many episodes about Scott
what
Adams.
I think was really funny is, so usually they do like 2 episodes, maybe 3 episodes on a person. Henry Kissinger has 8 episodes. There is only one other person that they have 8 episodes about.
Yeah.
Hitler?
Vince McMahon, who runs the WWE.
I haven't gotten to that
That's
one.
not who I would have guessed. Not in a million guesses.
Because the reason why it's not Hitler is because how bad you are is not what determines the number of episodes. It's the amount of separate bad things that you did. So, like, Henry Kissinger, it's like, so he lied his way to get a job into the White House. He committed treason to help Nixon get elected. He then committed genocide, helped bomb Vietnam and commit genocide. He then helped like organize bombing Cambodia, and then he betrayed Nixon and threw him to the wolves when Watergate struck. So it's just going through like many a thing that Kissinger was involved in that's horrible. Whereas like Hitler, it would be like, this is how he rose to power, and then what he did to have the Holocaust happen. So they can sum it up quicker because it is all kind of one big horrible thing.
Also, I feel like you can go almost anywhere for a Hitler history lesson.
Whereas Vince McMahon, it's like, this is how he stole the company from his dad. This is what he did to Union Bust. This is what he did to fuck over Andre the Giant. This is when he raped a lady. This is when he covered up child molestation in the wrestling ring. Like, so it just keeps going. They have all of these interviews with him, and the one thing that he always says in interviews is he brags about all the cars he stole.
Oh God. Wow. I mean, I'm not very, aware of wrestling at all. So
like, I knew that he was a shitbag. I just didn't know there was so much.
Like, it's kind of like the Scott Adams stuff where it's like, yeah, I knew a lot of this crazy shit. Like, oh no, this is a whole new level. I guess I didn't know this because like,
did they cover his mail order bride who has totally fucking left him in a lurch as a professional babysitter while she goes out and like dates other dudes?
No, but here's the thing. That's nowhere near as interesting as all the other shit.
So like what? Because I know about Dilbert, I know that the Dilberito, and I know about stay away from black people.
They talk about his belief that his mother was impregnated by an alien.
Does he really believe that?
He thinks that he is an alien.
He believes that all of the world's problems can be solved. You just have to convince everybody that religion is bullshit and will solve all the world's problems.
No.
He has wrote multiple books basically about that.
Now, like, here's
he doesn't necessarily think, for example, again, I'd recommend go listening. Me saying this is nowhere near as interesting as hearing them talk about it. But for example, a belief he has that is pervasive in some of his later works and his politics is that there is such a thing as like, a great influencer or something like that. Someone who is so persuasive.
A great mesmerizer.
Yeah, someone who
he thinks that Trump has hypnotized America.
Yeah.
No.
It's not. He doesn't believe he's like a great politician or the right politician. He doesn't even necessarily agree with his views. It's more that he believes he has the power to mesmerize and hypnotize people, and that is something he's been searching his whole life for. So that is why he like worships Trump.
That's pathetic.
It's fucking bonkers. It's like way more bonkers. Like I knew surface level some of this shit, and then it's like, oh no, it goes deeper because obviously I'm not gonna look more into his life. I like him weird. No, thank you.
I listened to the Jeff Bezos episode, and I knew a lot of the Jeff Bezos things that are like today because it's him being a union buster and being a shitty boss and all that stuff. What I didn't know is that he hates music.
Like conceptually?
Yes.
How are you good music?
I don't know. Basically, they talk about how this is the main reason why Apple beat Amazon to selling music online, because
He
Steve
doesn't see the
Jobs,
point of music.
whereas Steve Jobs loves music, really cares about it, wanted to make sure that getting the files easy to download but also have a good sound quality, like that was a thing that Steve Jobs was invested in. And Jeff Bezos did not understand the appeal of music, to the point where him knowing that this is weird, in college he would memorize the radio tags so he could pretend that he cared about music. So he not only fundamentally doesn't understand the appeal of music, but he so fundamentally misunderstands the appeal of music that he thinks radio tags are how he can fake talking to other people about music. Like,
that is bizarre.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And you know what? I'm not trying to be like, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there like, yeah, I don't really listen to music. Okay, fine, sure. But like, oh, that's weird.
But not understanding why the appeal of and why people yeah. So that's fucking bizarre.
It is bizarre. Holy shit. That is weird. I was actually.
Oh yeah, one of the Randy Milholland was in one of the Scott Adams episodes.
Oh yeah. Randy Milholland, friend of the show. Randy Milholland is the artist. Well, multiple things now, but he was originally known. Randy is kind of like one of those things where he needs to be in any kind of like the big documentary that's coming in the far-flung future, like the history of comics on the internet. Randy needs to be in it because that is the guy who was doing a comic called Something Positive for years and years.
Still is.
And still is. Yeah. And his readership was very, we'd love more Something Positive. We'd love more Something Positive. Can you update it more often? And he is the dude who kind of changed the tone of webcomics in a big way, because he said, okay, you know what? The job I currently work at, I make $30K a year. Here is my my PayPal tip cup. If it reaches $30K, I will quit my job and I will draw Something Positive full time. And he got there very quickly. Like, I think in days, he got $30K. And that just fucking set off a bomb in comics. Like, this is possible. This can happen. I can do this for a living.
Yeah. People in the chat are still hung up on Jeff Bezos doesn't like music.
Yeah.
Because it is so weird.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like, I just don't care. I mean, I'm just not into music. I just don't care for it. And another been like, why did all these weird aliens around me enjoy this thing called music?
Yeah. Yeah.
Other weird thing about Jeff Bezos I didn't know is that his father abandoned the family to pursue his unicycle dreams.
That is some fucking Dr. Evil level shit.
His biological father didn't have much impact on his life because he ran off to be a unicyclist.
That is ridiculous.
So the bigger influence in his life is his stepdad was a Cuban refugee. And if you think about the people who left Cuba when Castro took over.
Yep. Refugees aren't all poor.
Yeah, they're all capitalists. So he learned capitalism good at a young age.
Yeah, and that anybody who wanted to stifle his capitalism was evil.
Good, unicycle bad.
Yeah.
Music, I don't know.
It's so funny that it's unicyclist.
Yeah, it's not like he wanted to be in a band. It's not like he wanted to be a professional.
You know, if his
snowboarder.
dad had left the family to be in a band,
But like, what about
it
being
would
a
have made his
unicyclist?
hatred of music like make sense.
Yeah, exactly.
What about being a I'm curious. Like, what about being a unicyclist would require you to leave your family? Like, it's not
Because he
like
was going to do it professionally.
Perhaps
And
he
he-
lied
Well,
and
now
he
I
just
gotta
didn't
know
like
what
his
the,
family.
No, now I gotta learn about what the unicyclist circuit is like. It's like, I obviously it must mean they go on the road and they tour, but with whom? With whom?
I think with like a circus, basically.
Yeah.
But there's only so many of those.
I mean,
you could do local
why he
ones.
couldn't support a family on his unicycle dreams.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, you can part-time unicycle.
Bird
I think
Wizard,
you have to part-time unicycle.
It was the Cuban monarchy, basically, wasn't it? The people who ended up refugees from Cuba were basically, yes, the wealthiest members of Cuban society, and also a lot of expatriate Americans kind of invested in Cuba, trying to turn it into kind of this vacation spot, like Florida 2.0, basically.
Mhm.
So they owned bars and hotels and stuff, and they weren't Cubans themselves, but they were chased out of Cuba after living there for a while by the Communist Revolution.
But yeah, and they of course have episodes on Elon Musk.
I fucking seriously. Okay, all right, Elon Musk. Seriously, if I could fucking just please stop believing this man. I know there's only like 8 of you in here or something right now. Let me
I think
look.
you're gonna be preaching to the choir, though.
Please,
Yeah,
please stop
I don't
believing
think-
this fucking man.
I
Please stop listening to this man.
I don't think people who watch Geek Show care about Elon Musk,
I was
think he's a
recently
good person.
watching a retrospective where he was promising like a fucking Tesla Roadster in 2017, and it's like 2023 now. And he said there were people on Mars in 2022, and it's 2023 now. And he said there were people on the moon in 2018.
But that
It's
was
2023 now.
I mean, it was obvious bullshit even then.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was obvious bullshit even then. But the thing is, there were people who were so fucking rabid for this idiot. I saw a skeet recently that was an
Stop calling them skeets. You're hurting me.
They're skeets. I saw a skeet recently that's in a just world, an apartheid billionaire would be afraid to go outside. And it's like, yeah, that's absolutely true.
The one thing that the Behind the Bastards gives Elon credit for is he is
Lucky.
not as shitty as his dad.
That would be hard to do.
Small graces. I mean, I'm not as shitty as my dad. Where's my kudos?
I know, right? Like, it would be hard work to be shittier than Elon's dad.
In Behind the Bastards, that is not the case.
Yeah, it would be hard work.
They give him the kudos and they have to take it back.
Yeah, he is still an absolute. Here's the thing: I fucking hate the whole "he's a genius" thing. He is clearly not.
Obviously,
he is. Can we stop? Can we fucking stop? He is clear. Like, how dumb are you?
But here's the other thing.
Here's the other thing. Are you?
But here's my other thing. Even if he was a genius, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Even if he was a genius, who cares? Still a bad man who does bad and stupid things. Geniuses. That doesn't mean they can't do bad and stupid things. That doesn't mean they deserve shit.
You're watching him get fucking radicalized into anti-Semitism straight out of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion in real time. Stop calling him a genius.
I mean, genius, you know what I mean. And again,
yeah,
I don't think I think him being a genius and him doing that shit is not necessarily like
you can be both a genius and a raging.
Who are
you could be both a genius and a raging anti-Semite. Yes,
I just feel like we shouldn't be applying like value judgments to someone being a quote unquote genius. It's just like it's only good if they're using it for good.
Yeah, that's true.
On the topic of you can be a genius and also a horrible person, another episode I listened to today was about the guy who invented ecstasy.
Oh.
And he invented ecstasy because he was trying to find a way to make the black population of South Africa infertile. And also infertile, but also docile. Like those were the two goals. And he could not find a way to make, like, he couldn't find a way to make it only make black people infertile, which is why he then switched to just docility. And that is why if you take ecstasy today, he probably made it because he made so much of it that it's still just out there. And he also was a Nazi.
Surprise!
And,
oh my god!
Yeah, he was a Nazi first and invented a bunch of nerve gases.
Oh my god!
And then the United States said, "Well, can you make us nerve gas?"
Yeah, as they
and
did.
Then we won't like have you executed. And he's like, "Okay. Also, what if I made better nerve gas?" So like he just keeps making horrific chemicals and also ecstasy.
Look, the path to ecstasy is lined with nerve gas.
Pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
I am like, I haven't had like, I haven't been sleeping because again, I finished a job, so the last 2 days I let myself draw my comics as much as I want. So I kind of got, when you get like really in a groove and you're like, no, I refuse to do anything else.
Yep.
That's what I did. Like for the last 2 days, I've done nothing but draw my own comics. It's been great, but also this train cannot go on forever. I need to come back down. My little drawing vacation is ending. But consequently, I have not been sleeping. Not for, again, this is just because I'm an idiot who wants to draw instead of sleep. But also, dinner today has put me into a food coma. So I am borderlining on delirium. But not like for like, oh no, I'm so tired and overworked, but more like, I refuse to sleep and I ate so much food. Wee! Like hyper toddler levels, basically.
I'm going to show y'all something of what I've been doing. If you follow me on Blue Sky, you've probably seen some of this. Let's see if I can't. There, I believe the file is called Big Trash. Okay, here we go. So everybody, don't you put that in there. All right. Everybody, this is Big Trash. This is a
I love a square.
Yeah, it's a isometric tile set that I've been working on for frankly for the past 5 days. And my whole thing is I've decided to teach myself a little game dev on what is my vacation. I'm currently technically on vacation. I'm doing a lot of fucking work anyway, but I'm on vacation.
You're working for fun. It's fine.
And this is Big Trash, what I've called the isometric tile set I made, which is 4 dirt blocks, a water block, a sand block, a half-size sand block, grass, and 2 flowers.
A poop block, a cum block.
Yeah, it does look very Cubert. That is something that I have actually
the water
done.
does look like water.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
a thing that I would love Iron Circus to do is to make a Smut Peddler ad using Tom Lehner's song Smut.
We actually made a Smut Peddler promo vid back in the day, but we didn't have the guts to use it. That had a bad reputation by Susie. What's her name?
I say Tom Lehner's song Smut because that's public domain now. Like, yeah, he put all of his work in public domain.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's like, I'm 95. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Anyone who wants it can download my stuff and use it how they so please.
Good for him. That is the true key to immortality, making sure your work is accessible to future generations.
I don't think I'm going to care about that when I'm dead.
No, but, It's always nice to share what you've accomplished with future generations.
Nah.
Yeah.
I'm going to... I don't know where I'm going with this. Again, food coma, delirium.
Another good Behind the Bastards is about Tsar Nicholas II.
Oh, yeah.
Which really puts into light why the Bolshevik Revolution happened while he was Tsar.
Yeah, he was very ineffectual.
Like, and the things that he did do were horrible. Like,
Yes.
he was just like a bumbling train wreck after bumbling train wreck.
Yep.
And like his dad was at least good at murdering people that hated him.
Yep.
So
you got to be good at that if you're going to run a fucking closed fist fucking autocracy.
They start the episode by talking about how Tsar Nicholas II's grandfather died. And his grandfather was blown up because certain parts of the country opposed him trying to make society in Russia fairer. So then Tsar Nicholas II's dad was like, well, this is what happens when you give them rights, so we should just slaughter them all.
Yeah, that was back when anarchists were like a genuine threat.
Yeah.
No offense to any anarchists in the room. But there was a period in history where if you were an anarchist, it meant you were throwing actual bombs at kings. So,
yeah.
So that's what I mean. But yeah. One of the
but the wizard is saying Nicholas was basically Joffrey, and it's like I wouldn't even call him that because Joffrey was good at being horrible to people and frightening them, whereas Tsar Nicholas was just like clueless and oblivious, and like they talk about part of the reason why, like they say that if Tsar Nicholas II and his wife were alive today, they'd be really into QAnon.
Yeah.
Like, they believed every stupid conspiracy theory. They like, there's a reason why Rasputin could show up and just get away with fucking whatever he wanted.
Rah rah Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen.
I know references.
Yeah, they do go over that Rasputin, while he fucked everyone else's wife, he probably did not fuck the Russian queen.
Yeah,
because
that's very
he was
unlikely.
Like, yeah, he was like, that's the very he's like, that's what will get me executed.
Yeah. Joke's on him. just the just the possibility of impropriety is enough to get you executed, not the actual act. But yeah,
well, again, like,
I mean, he didn't get anything. He just got chased.
Yeah, the Tsar is not the one who killed him. So
no, he's not. But the thing is that his closeness to the Romanovs, caused rumors to be spread. The rumors that were spread were not true, but the thing is, the last thing you want is rumors like that being spread when you are already on shaky ground with your legitimacy of your authority.
Yeah.
And also, he had the ear of the Russian queen.
Yeah, no, that's more the reason why the nobles wanted him dead.
About the banging the Russian queen part.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wasn't executed either.
It was
tried.
It was more because he was targeted by not the Tsar.
Yeah.
Because the Tsar would always run things past Rasputin first.
Because their son had hemophilia, and they were under the impression that Rasputin
we
could keep their son alive.
That's why I said they would believe in QAnon. Like, they were like, they would be the first ones ordering horse tranquilizers to cure COVID. Like, they would be.
No, we were just saying that no, he was not executed, and his death had nothing to do with being the Russian queen's lover.
The
That's all we were saying.
his death had nothing to do with the Tsar not liking him.
Yeah.
No, I
Everyone
didn't say
else
that.
not. Yeah.
And he wasn't
No.
properly executed. It was kind of
He was assassinated. He wasn't
Yeah.
executed. He was assassinated. Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically it was one of those things where they didn't want the mad monk, air quotes, influencing the Romanovs anymore, basically. And they just figured this is kind of the only way they were going to get rid of him, because clearly Nikolai had fucking lost control of the cart, and it's just, this is all, like, they don't need this shit happening now where everything's already going to shit in Russia.
What is really, really funny is they talk about on Behind the Bastards that before Rasputin was in the picture, they had a different con man milking them for all they're worth.
Yeah, they were vulnerable people.
Yeah, and that con man paid it forward to the next con man because he was an old man, so he kind of knew, like, all right, I'm not going to live much longer. And he told the Tsar, I must take my leave because I'm needed elsewhere. But I want you to know that I will come to you again in another form. And, like, and primed him for the next con man to
yeah. And again, like, the Romanovs are a great example of, like, when we're sitting here and we're looking at people doing stupid, bizarre shit, and it's like, that is clearly fake. How can you believe that? That person, you're a sucker. That person is taking advantage of you. They were fucking desperate. They were desperate. They had a whole shitload of daughters, and then they had this one son. And the one son was chronically ill with something that was like 10,000% untreatable at the time. And here comes this one dude who, for all they can tell, could make sure their kid could at the very least live long enough to produce an heir himself. And so they were absolutely they were fished all the way in. And you can kind of see why. But yeah. Anyway,
they read some of Tsar Nicholas II's diaries, just to show you how absolutely oblivious he is to the world around him and that other people are human.
Keep in mind, everyone, this was back in the day. Like, Queen Victoria basically planted kids and grandkids in, like, every European royal house. So the King of England at the time and the Tsar of Russia were really closely related, like first cousins.
They were cousins.
Yeah.
They were all cousins.
Yeah.
All the leaders that fought in World War I were cousins for the most part.
I'm rusty and drawn shit weird.
Yeah. So it's like, there was a lot of, one of the things that, one of the reasons Nicholas II stepped down, he abdicated the throne of Russia, is he assumed he was going to be sent into exile in England. He really thought that he would be fine and his family would be fine. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe in 10, 15 years after things calm down, he could go back and get his throne back. Like, that was literally the plan. He thought he was going to be okay. And chances are they promised him he was going to be okay too when they got him to abdicate the throne. And he fucking straight up wrote letters to cousin George, air quotes, cousin George, and saying, so what's up? It's like, can I get a couch to crash on for the next 10 to 15 years? What's up? Like, divine right of kings, all that good happy horse shit. Like, we're related, we're family. Like, you got a spot for me and the kids? Like, what's up? And at the time, like, the political environment in England would not have been amenable to letting Russian royalty crash at, like, Westminster, like the palace or whatever, So he just he did not save Nicholas. Cousin Georgie did not come through, and that's probably, I'm sure there's an alternate timeline out there where the Romanovs went into exile in London. I'm sure there is. Because that was originally the plan. Because you don't just go around fucking killing kings. You don't do that.
Yeah, they talk about how he was making different plans, and that's when they brought him into the basement and shot all his family.
Yeah. one of the things that's kind of fascinating to read about too is when the Romanovs were being held, imprisoned, originally the people who were imprisoning them, they were all commoners. And they were all revolutionaries, but they were kind of a little freaked out because, again, it's like the early 20th century, like you are raised with this idea of divine right of kings and shit. And here are the Romanovs right in front of you who are your prisoners. It's like, it's a little tiny bit of a mind fuck, right? It's a little weird.
Well, it's also, what was unique about Russia is so a lot of other European countries by this point had limited their royalties' power.
Yeah. But Russia had not, no.
But whereas Russia, had not, because they were also the head of the Orthodox Church.
Yeah. So it was really fucked up to like, there he is. There's the Tsar of all the Russias, But as time went on, it became kind of like what I read is one of the things that kind of kicked all this off to the point where it got more intense up until the day they were finally all gunned down in the basement is that Nicholas was being guarded while he was riding his bike. And when he rode past one of the guards just straight up stuck his bayonet in the wheel, and Nicholas fell off the bike. And like that flipped a switch in everyone at that house that was never unflipped. Like they began to be kind of shitty to the Romanovs and increasingly shittier and shittier all the time.
Yeah.
Until they finally killed them. And that's just fascinating to me.
Also, they go over part of the other reason why it was very easy for Rasputin to con the Romanovs is because since the Tsar was also the head of the Orthodox Church, a lot of peasants in Russia never interacted with him. And a thing that was preached on all fronts religiously is that the Tsar and the peasants of Russia have a special holy connection. And so it's whenever there were like Russian revolutions before this or like unrest, it was usually the peasants would blame the noble directly in front of them and be like, the Tsar must not know what you're doing. Like, because it wasn't divine right of nobles, only the Tsar was chosen by God. So because of that, Rasputin showing up, it's like he was introduced as a novelty at a party as a real peasant, like, and like. So then Rasputin, when meeting the Tsar, was like, yes, we do have a special holy connection. God has connected us. Like,
yeah. And I should note, by the way, this isn't like remotely unusual. Like it's happening these days too, quite frankly. But Marie Antoinette in France, at the Sun King's palace, Marie Antoinette, she had a whole fake French village built where she would go and pretend to be a milkmaid. So this sort of fascination with the peasantry, with the common people, was a thing that transcended nationality when it came to royalty.
Yeah, but she wasn't getting told that God had given her a special connection to the peasantry.
No,
she just thought they were neat.
She just had a weird kink.
Yeah.
Personally, I prefer the concept of this as it was practiced in China. If you folks don't know about Chinese history, holy fuck, what a mess. But a concept that is sort of run throughout throughout Chinese history is, in Europe they call it divine right of kings. In China, it has a much cooler name, which is the mandate of heaven. And people who have the mandate of heaven have the right to rule over you, granted by whatever heaven is at that moment. And the cool thing about the mandate of heaven is that separates it from divine right of kings is you can lose the mandate of heaven. And people would say that how can you tell when someone has lost the mandate of heaven? A great example is if things are going really bad. Like if, for example, gosh, I don't know, some warriors on horseback from Mongolia are fucking riding rough all over your fucking kingdom and you can't seem to stop them. The peasantry would begin muttering amongst each other, and also your generals would start going, so and so appears to have lost the mandate of heaven.
It's also if like a drought happened, it's like, well, heaven isn't pleased with this guy, so
exactly.
we should give him the axe.
So a big thing in Chinese history throughout is basically a lot of arguments back and forth if someone has or has not got the mandate of heaven, and you can sort of like see everybody's side of it. Like the Mongols are destroying China, you have lost the mandate of heaven. A drought has come, you have lost the mandate of heaven. You cannot produce an heir, you have lost the mandate of heaven. It's kind of fascinating. I kind of love Chinese history for that.
A book I think is really neat. You talking about Chinese history made me think of it. Is Iron Widow.
Uh-huh.
So it's a sci-fi book. That Spike, you know how Song of Ice and Fire is kind of based off the War of the Roses?
Yep.
Iron Widow is kind of based off the one female empress, the emperor's rise to power in China. So it's like taking that and putting it in a space opera with mechs. And is pretty good. Some good shit.
Oh, by the way, another cool feature of Chinese history, if you were unfamiliar, there was a massive countrywide civil war that was an absolute fucking free-for-all, where one of the sides, the revolutionary side, was led by a guy who claimed to be the brother of Jesus Christ. Like, literally related. So you should probably check up on Chinese history because it's fucking hilarious.
I mean, all history's fucking hilarious when you think about it.
Yeah, to be fair, all history's fucking hilarious. That is true.
Even the parts that are terrible.
Even the parts that are terrible. Yeah.
And make you cry. Hilarious.
Behind the Bastards has an episode about the Great Hunger in Ireland.
Oh boy.
And how you should not call it the potato famine.
Really?
Yes.
Why not?
Because there was plenty of food.
Oh, okay. It was all the English then, huh?
The English just sat on it and wouldn't give it to them. And said, well, you're only going hungry because you bred too much. And if we relieved this famine, then we would just be encouraging you to breed more. And clearly God doesn't want you to breed. And that's why this famine is happening.
Wow.
So the whole episode is about how everything horrible the English did to other countries, they did it to Ireland first.
Yeah. I mean, that is not wrong.
So it's like
my husband is here for a reason.
Yeah.
And so are you, Cal.
Also, until recently, Ireland was one of the few countries that had a lower population today than it did in the early, in the like 1800s.
Yeah, everybody was leaving.
Also, most of them died.
Also the death.
Yeah, death and leaving.
Oh boy, I should definitely put a body down because I'm having a hard time.
So yeah, so they go over how you don't call it the potato famine because it's all English and capitalism's fault.
Yep. Not surprising, honestly.
Girl running away.
I'm drawing relatives arguing over a newspaper.
Yay, comics are magic.
Yeah, aren't that exciting? See, I don't know if
I mean, that does sound like fun. I would watch a show that was
Spike,
relatives arguing over a
Yeah?
newspaper.
Spike, I feel like I'm constantly hovering over you, giving you a dirty look.
Why?
Every time you undersell your work. I'm like this.
Nobody wants to read this shit. That's okay with me. I'm okay with it. It's fine. I'm okay with nobody liking or wanting to read my shit.
Yeah, no. This is not about being okay. It's about selling your stuff that you love like you don't love it.
No, I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
Then stop telling people, hey, this is my absolute garbage, terribly written, terribly drawn comic. You can read it here. Stop doing that.
No, it's definitely not badly written and badly drawn.
But that's
I just know.
No, that's how you keep pitching it to people.
Okay, good point.
I'm gonna beat you up.
Just
Tell us about how great your horrible Keebler elves are.
my terrible Keebler
Like your
elves,
characters can be intentionally terrible people. That's fine.
Yes,
like
they are.
like at that dinner. we had a moment when Spike was like, "Oh yeah, here's a link to my terrible comic," and hey Amanda, you can send them the link to your terrible comic. I'm like, excuse me, my comic's not terrible because I wouldn't spend time on it if I thought it was terrible. Now I'm open to the idea I might be wrong in my appraisal of my own comic, but if I thought my comic was terrible, I wouldn't waste time on it.
I am bummed I was not at this lunch.
It's okay.
Because I would like to get said person to read about gay werewolves in the future.
I bet they would love your gay werewolf story
There's
in the
time.
future.
There's time.
Gay werewolf in the future.
Opportunity will present.
Oh yes, if things work out, opportunities will present. I promise. Which is why I was all like, "Well, you should move to Chicago." I still think you should, but we'll see.
It's too cold.
That's why I like it.
It's okay. Climate change will fix that.
No, but I just got here, Spike, and I love the cold.
Climate change will
I
fix
don't
everything.
think climate change necessarily means it will get warmer. It
might mean the cold is going to get worse.
Yeah, climate change means that like we're getting more extremes, so the cold will get colder and the hot will get hotter.
Boo!
Hooray!
So
Thanks, fossil fuels.
Or rather, thanks, like 3 companies.
Yeah, seriously.
There's a thing I like to watch on Nebula by Tom Nicholas, where he's doing a podcast where he just interviews people about a leftist thing. And the most recent one is he was talking to someone who is an expert on climate change, like actions, like, and is very involved in that scene. And he's asking them which supposed solutions to climate change are bullshit and which ones are maybe possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very funny because it's like some are like, we're gonna put this chemical in the air and that will block out part of the sun.
That's not a plan.
And the climate change guy was like, well, theoretically that will work, but like, and they do know that it will work, but we then might have caused 9 million other problems. So that's a thing. While viable, that's Bond villains shit. Like, don't do it. But it went over like carbon offsets and shit like that. Too, but just the fact that there are some people that are like, what if we shoot this chemical in the atmosphere? That will fix things.
Sure, of course, makes perfect sense.
I can't wait till later. Like, obviously, I'll have to wait till later because this comic is nowhere close to being present at even the beginning. But like, there's in later parts of this comic, she just doesn't have segments of her tail. But like the rest of her tail functions interrupted, so she just has like chunks in the middle missing, but the rest of her tail acts like like they're there. That's gonna be
they're still there. Yeah,
that's gonna be fun to draw.
Yeah, my big thing later on is how many people are in here? Let me look real quick.
14.
14. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and ruin my comic. So a thing that I have later on is basically what's about to happen is these guys are about to get fucking caught. Like there's going to be basically maybe 8 to 10 people from a well-to-do family who are going to enact some vigilante shit on them. And the next chapter is going to have a scene where you can look this up. I think they call them like box prisons. It's a thing that was done on like the plains of sort of like Siberia and Tibet and Russia, where basically if instead of like putting you in like a cage
Kristen
in a
says
building,
you ruin it a lot.
yeah, basically instead of putting you in a cage in like a cell in a building, is they put you in a box. Like if you can imagine, like if your family had a quilt chest, it looks like that. They would just lock you in there. And that's where you'd be. And
Like a footlocker.
Bettany, Eki, and Ta are gonna be in one of those. And while they are in one of those, somebody is going to come over. And the person who's going to come over is going to talk to Bettany. And because of the way these things work, there is going to be a little there's going to be a little hole in the quilt chest that he's locked in, the box prison. And he's going to peek in and he's going to see Bettany rather has striped skin, so he knows he's got the right guy. And he's going to say, "Hey there, hi. So I heard about what you did, and I know you're probably in there thinking they're going to kill you for this, but they're not. You'll be fine. All you have to do when they show up is just, be really, really sorry, and they'll take you in because they really want the little fat one." Like I hear them talk, and they definitely want the little fat one. And the little fat, they won't be able to just pick and choose who they get to fucking murder. They'll have to take you all. And if you're just really, really full of contrition, and if you're willing to grovel and shit, you'll be fine. And honestly, being a slave isn't really that bad. It's probably better than the life you were living. Like, where your next meal is coming from. And I mean, the way you were living, you were never going to get a woman anyway. So it's not like that's going to change a whole lot. And if it makes you feel better, all your time out here with the herd, you can just pretend they're yours. That's what I do. The tattoos don't really hurt that bad. They're over in a day. It's fine. It's really just fine. I mean, this is honestly a better way to live than the way you were living, if what I hear was okay. And he's just, it's not bad. You'll be fine. Like, maybe this is kind of clearly the way the world wants you to be, like a slave like me, because otherwise this wouldn't have happened. I mean, you have to admit that's how things are, right? And, Bettany's kind of listening to all of this silently. And then he's like, "Okay, someone's coming. I'm going to go back to the herd. I shouldn't even be over here. But yeah, I look forward to working with you," basically is what this guy says. Just remember what I told you. And what ends up happening is like 2 or 3 of the people who basically beat up and dragged Bettany, Eki, and Ta to these little cage traps and put them in there are there. And they're there with 2 women who look nothing like them. And the 2 women are from the administrative wing of the government that claims to own the land that these very nomadic people now live on. Like, they don't really care or listen to these people. But the thing is, like, these women have just shown up and they're taking a survey, an ethnographic and population survey of this area. And it turns out this is a thing that happens in China. They're functionally like these traveling judge type people. So they know that this has just gone down, that these criminals are being kept in these box prisons. And they're like, no, we don't do that in our empire. You cannot do that. They have to be judged according to the law of the empire. Take us to your prisoners. And that's what ends up happening. Eki, Bettany, and Ta are let out of the box prisons. And the 2 women are like, "Okay, so what did they do?" And this whole time, I'm sure people who read it are like, "Oh, this is going to be about how Bettany literally beat a man to death and drowned him." It's like, no, it turns out those nice knives they have, they stole them. They stole them from graves. And that is something that is a capital crime where these guys live. And it's like, yeah, well, what do you want to do about it? If they stole from, the graves of your relatives, what do you want to do about it? And the well-off people, the people who have been stolen from by these three, basically goes, well, we'd like to kill these two and we'd like to keep this one. And again, the two women are like, no, that's not how we're going to do it. And you are under the behest of the Empire now, so you're not going to fucking kill anybody. And the guys get very upset. But then the women go, okay, here's the thing. And they point to like a pack animal that's with them. And the pack animal has about like a, I call it like a cocktail table sized wooden thing on its back. And it's a seal. And it's a seal we've
Did
seen
you say a
before.
cocktail?
Cocktail table.
Cocktail table.
Size
Okay.
thing. Yeah, it's like a seal we've seen before in the newspaper Bettany stole. And she points at it and she goes, okay, here's the thing. If I take this off this animal and I set it up and I sit in a chair in front of it, wherever we are will become a courtroom. And if I do that, then what I say goes, and there will be no compromise. So I am urging you right now to actually compromise with me and be reasonable. What punishment do you think is fair? Do not say killing them and enslaving the fat one, because that's not okay. That's not going to happen. And while all this is going on, there's a woman coming across the plains. And surprise, it's their mom. And their mom has shown up, and their mom is all like, how dare you even fucking do this when I'm like not present? You know that I am actually the head of their house. They don't live with me, they don't listen to me, but I'm the only like actual jumped in adult, I guess you could say, that's left in what constitutes their tent. So you have to consult me before you do anything. They belong to me. They have not been designated adults. I mean, they're clearly physically adults, but they have not been designated adults by ritual. So these are children you're fucking picking on. You all disgust me. Fuck off. Guys, get up. We're going. And of course, this is all very entertaining to the two women who are there. But eventually what happens is they all decide that they have to go back and live with their mom. If they're kids, they need to act like kids. They're not allowed to be wandering around out here. And everyone sort of like agrees to it, but they agree to it in a way that when they are walking away, the mom goes, hey, you can't stay with me. They're going to come kill you tonight. The minute those women leave, they're going to come kill you. It's clear that they're going to fucking come kill you. They just agree to it because they are done arguing. Y'all are dead if you stay with me. So basically what I'm saying now is our house is over. Our tent has fallen. Our family no longer exists. I don't know where you guys are going to be able to go, but you cannot stay with me anymore, and you cannot stay around here because
you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly. It's like, it's over for you now. You can't stay here. And there's like more to it where basically she talks about how like, you know, I'm not actually related to you. I couldn't fucking like walk off and leave three little kids to die by a river. And I tried to raise you best I can, but clearly that was not good enough because y'all are little shits. I don't know what I did wrong, but clearly it was something because you're scumbags. Whatever they say you did, I know you did. And so just like, that's the last time I save your life. Like there, I've done it twice. You're done. Like fucking get out of here. And they're like, well, where do we go? And she's like, that is your problem. I don't know where you go. You have to figure that out. And that is when they notice that those guys that originally caught them are not waiting for night to come kill them. They are actually following them back to wherever they're going. And Ta's the first to notice. And he's all like, guys. And like, they're just, you know, they're kind of not dots on the horizon, but they are figures clearly following them. And it's like, wow, they're not even waiting. And there's a lot of, what do we do? What do we do? And the mom's going, don't look back at them. I'll think of something. Let me think. And holy shit, they're going to kill me too. Fuck, what's going on? And that is when Eki does an about face and he takes all of his clothes off and he walks towards them and he picks up a rock off the ground and begins hitting himself in the face with it while screaming at them. And the thing about Eki is Eki definitely has weird holy man vibes, and nobody really knows how decent a connection to any spirits he actually has are, but you kind of don't want to risk it. Like, you don't want to risk making a real shaman upset. Like, there's a lot of questions about whether he is a real shaman, like if he's really legitimate. But if he's walking towards you, literally hitting himself in the face with a rock, naked, with blood going everywhere, screaming obscenities and talking about how God is going to rip your dick off and shit in your mouth if he tells God to, it's enough to give you pause. So they stop following them. They stop following them. And that's kind of the end of it. That's the end of chapter 2, where Bettany, Eki, and Ta basically have to leave. And they decide to go to the place that Bettany saw in the newspaper. And that's me ruining the entire chapter coming up.
I mean, to be fair, that's not everything.
Yeah, I mean, well, we need to see these nice people do all those things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruin my comic.
Ruin it!
The comic that I am drawing now is part of my future werewolf series. But this one is about a vampire. And it is a newbie vampire who doesn't really know who they were before becoming a vampire, because a thing about City Between Vampires is when they feed off people, they get their memories. So a thing that happens with newbie vampires is they can't tell if a memory is theirs or the person they just ate.
Okay.
And so while they're trying to find the person who turned them into a vampire, they frequently, like, the narrative is getting interrupted by memories of various people they have eaten since becoming a vampire. And I have put a visual tell in the comic, so a keen-eyed observer can tell when it is a memory and when it is really happening. And that is, you can't see anyone's eyes in the memories. Not like in the BoJack Times Arrow Marches Forward episode where the characters don't have faces, sort of thing, but like I'm cropping it so you always can't see the character's eyes. Like it's a down angle from the back of their head, or the two characters are talking and we're close up on their lips or their hands making a gesture. We don't see anyone's eyes while it is in a memory. And so far, no one has picked up on it, but if they have, they haven't said anything. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, I don't get a whole lot of comments, so I don't know if this is completely going over people's heads or not.
Yeah, I know that feeling. But still, I persist.
But yeah, so I just shared like a page that's all a memory thing. Except for the last panel, obviously. So yeah, I'm just wondering,
are you screaming into the abyss?
Yes, am I screaming into the abyss? Yeah. Like, people are clearly reading it. It's just I don't know if they're picking up details like this.
I just want to. It's like I feel.
I mean, there's a certain level of people might consciously know it, but like, there's also probably people who are, their brain is, they are subconsciously kind of picking up on it, but they couldn't articulate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the thing. You just gotta ride it out. Because not every revelation is going to be like, oh shit. Some of them are going to be someone quietly going, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, I just really want to fucking finish a long format comic. I have never in my fucking life finished a long format comic because, life happened, and I just and I don't want that to be my legacy. Like, obviously, I'm not over here twiddling my thumbs, I'm doing things, but I still want part of what I make to be an actual fucking long format comic, the thing I supposedly, have so much love for. That's me.
Yeah.
I've made all the wrong choices.
Liar, shut up.
You monster.
I am a monster.
Go lounge in your condo with your wonderful husband.
My wonderful stinky husband.
I can't get back I can't wait to get back to listening to Behind the Bastards.
Well,
the
it is.
episode I was listening to before we started was about John Wayne.
He is a bastard.
Yep. I like that there's a variety. Like they have some modern day bastards they talk about, and then they dive into history. It's a good mix. You know,
it is 10:02, so you can go back and start listening to it now. How do y'all feel about getting started with the outro? I guess that's a yes.
All right.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I guess
I'm tired,
so.
and my brain didn't process what you were actually asking. So we're ending, right?
We are ending now. Everybody, please like and subscribe to the Iron Circus YouTube. We really appreciate it. We're super freaking close to 2,000 subscribers. It would be really cool if we got there. I'm Spike. The comic I'm drawing is Blokada. It is inspired by the horse cultures of the Siberian plains, the Russian Revolution, and my own imagination. You can read it at blokada.com, spelled BLIKADA.com. I'm Spike. I'm Iron Spike everywhere that matters, all one word, IRONSPIKE. You can find me on Pillow Fort. You can find me on Co-Host, and I am most active on Blue Sky. Please subscribe. I run Iron Circus Comics. That's at ironcircus.com. I also run Iron Circus Animation. You can watch Lackadaisy on YouTube by going to the Lackadaisy YouTube channel. Just search Lackadaisy and you'll find us. Also, we have a big Black Friday sale starting tomorrow, or rather in 2 hours, where all our books are 25% off and all Iron Circus Hidden Gems are 50% off. Now's the time to stock up for holidays.
I'm Kel. You can read my comics about gay werewolves in the future at kelmcdonald.com. I have also streamed on Twitch at twitch.tv/kelmcdonald. I have also been drawing this entire time. You just haven't seen it because it's on my Twitch, not on the YouTube. So go subscribe to me there. I stream more frequently than just during Geek Show. I also have a Discord where we watch werewolf movies on the full moon. So if you would like to join me and to watch the movie Teen Wolf, we are watching that this full moon. What's that? Oh God,
I'm so old. I'm so old.
Yeah.
I have bad news for you, Spike.
It's just gonna keep happening.
You're just gonna keep getting older.
The march of time, like march of progress.
You're older than you've ever been, and now you're even older, and now you're even older, and now you're even older. You're not older than you've ever been, and now you're even older.
We're gonna watch.
Now you're older still.
So we're gonna watch, for clarity, the movie with Michael J. Fox, not the MTV Teen Wolf show, which personally I'm a fan of because it's nonsense. Spike, MTV's Teen Wolf is like a shonen anime, but live action.
Fair enough.
The power of friendship makes you a better werewolf. Like, that's canon.
Oh God, that's bad. That's bad.
There are 2 twin werewolves that Voltron together to become a super werewolf. Yeah, it's full of stupid shit like that. I love it.
Yeah, it does sound very dumb.
Also, when you become a werewolf, you apparently forget how buttons work because none of those boys know how to button their shirts.
As one does.
Anyway, Amanda's turn.
I'm Amanda Lafrene. Okay, so temporarily, you are going to have to go to my co-host that lists. I'm Amanda Laugh, like Amanda and haha laugh at cohost.org. My pinned post there has links to all my stuff because my website is down because I am in the middle of finally getting it set up as a hub and I've temporarily broken it and I will fix it soon. The end. Oh, also the comic I'm drawing is, again, like I said earlier, probably a future web comic, but I'm still thinking about how to distribute it. It is I guess like a little fantasy adventure comic about a gay rat girl who gets stranded on Earth. The end.
Thank you for coming.